Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Mixon back once again, doing another live beat breakdown for you guys. This is week 20. We've been doing this for 20 weeks already. Several months. Very excited about it. So happy beat of the week 20, guys. We made it through 20 episodes. Nothing can stop us now. We're getting right into it and yeah, I'm just happy that you guys have been along for the ride. So let's see. Let's talk about the voting for this week. It was a pretty unanimous decision. So it's about 70% of the people wanted me to break down this this Shoreline Mafia West Coast beat that I made. Um, so yeah, voting, if you don't already know, I make 3 beats a week. Monday through Wednesday they get posted. Thursday we do the voting, and then we only do it on my Instagram. So go down below, check the description so you can get your vote in. Follow me on Instagram. That's how I do it. It's on my stories. It goes from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. till 6 a.m. the next day, or whenever I post it. It's just full 24 hours, and then the voting's done. But I only count the voting that's on my Instagram page. So make sure you're giving me a follow, guys. Also, if you're here to my YouTube, please leave a like, comment down below. For like maybe what are some beats you guys want to see in the next week? What are some things that you guys might want to do? So I'm gonna put out there. Let's see. Let's see. What beats do you guys want to see in the next couple of weeks? So like make sure you're leaving a like, comment, and subscribe down below in the live chat, and we'll kind of go from there. So without wasting any more time, I'm gonna go right into what goes into this beat. This is like I said, I'm gonna be showing you how to make a Shoreline Mafia type beat today. So with this beat, it's got West Coast vibes in it as well. Just trying to emulate some of that with this. So some of it's with sound selection, some of it's like with certain patterns that you want to use. And I'll go into everything with it. But the first things first, I'm going to introduce the beat by playing it back for you guys for the first time. So yeah, here's what this Shoreline Mafia beat sounds like. Okay, so that's what the beat sounds like. I'm gonna go into the instrumentals first. Let's get right into these things here. So with the sound selection, it's all Omnisphere presets. This first one is from my first pack, which is already out, and I'll drop that down below after this video is done. If any of you producers out there want Omnisphere presets, I've got 2 banks open right now, so go ahead and give those, check those out. This one's called the E Piano. I really like this one. It's a really cool one, at least in my opinion. Maybe I'm a little biased, but uh, let's see. So this is the melody for it. So it's basically just like an arpeggio going up. That's the main thing that I'm doing here. We're in I think this is B major. B major? Let's see here. I think it's B major. Anyway, let's just see here. Oh, I'm sorry, it's F minor. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So it's F minor, so we're starting with a 1 chord, going down to the 3. So it goes 1, 3, or no, I'm sorry, 1, 5, and then that would be 3. So 1, 5, 3, 3. So 1, yeah, it's 1, 5, 3. 1, 5, 3. Pretty interesting. So it just climbs down, and I mean that's just the harmonics behind it. And then with 2, I'll go more detail about the other one too. Don't worry. But it's just wanted to show it's these chords stacked, right? So it goes 1, 5, 3, and then it's actually 1 again, but it's an inverted, so it's a 1/6 chord. With that in mind, it's just I feel like this is a good rhythm to have. Kind of like lets it like cruise into the next one with it still remaining a tonic. Yeah. If you want more details about that, I'm happy to go into it. Just leave a comment down below. So with this, it builds up, and I added a couple of extra notes. So it's basically an arpeggio, but I added a couple of notes here and there just to make it sound a little bit more interesting, like it was like more of that kind of type beat that you're looking for with this. So in this beat, keeping the rhythm like with West Coast or with Shoreline Mafia beats, they kind of follow this rhythm where they're going off of the offbeat. So like it's just making it like if you hear this rhythm, you like hear that in a lot of Shoreline Mafia beats. Like they're ascending at the same rhythm for like a lot of their stuff. That's what their producers normally do for like the beats that they like to rap on. And then if you follow the rhythm of this, it's you're basically going like to like kind of show it on the chart here. You're going like from here to here, here to here. So it's like this like kind of particular rhythm. So if you're looking at the like white and the red dots here, or gray and red dots, you go like you doing this particular rhythm just to keep everything in line. And it's just like those chords, like if they're in that rhythm, it kind of gives it a nice bounce. Like if you hear it here, dun dun, it gives it that West Coast kind of rhythm already with some of those, well, the West Coast Shoreline kind of thing. I know the Shoreline's like from Chicago, but like they uh they kind of make a lot of West Coast beats, so it's interesting. Um, but yeah, on top of that, I added these to excite it at the end of the first 8 bars. So these are just like little like leads and like plucks to add like a little bit more depth. But like those chords stacked together sound really nice with the arpeggio. Then we go into here. Adding that lead is like I feel like they have a lot of that in their songs. It's like a higher pitched lead, maybe a triangle, or it's like for this one I chose it was a techno violin. I think it's what it was called. Yeah, techno violins. It's an atmosphere patch, atmosphere library patch from Spectrasonic. So it's a stock one that comes with Omnisphere. But I don't know, it felt very like Shoreline Mafia-esque with their like the way that they like make their leads usually sound. And then I added this extra sound. So it's a good counter melody. So these two, playing off of these. So they play nicely off of the main instrument lines there, if you can hear that. It's like, so the counter melodies really are just there to like, provide like a little bit more depth and like make it more interesting as it builds up. Because if you're playing the same lines over and over again, sometimes it gets old. Sometimes it's cool. If the sample's cool enough, sometimes people just want to hear that over and over and over again. But it's nice to have a little bit of a change up. Like you can see, I still didn't really use it that much throughout the song, but just to have that like build up in the second half of the chorus, just to make it a little bit different, I thought was like a really nice thing to do. Yeah. So with that in mind, that's pretty much all I did for the melodies there. I guess I'll talk a little bit about counter melodies. You kind of want to hit like the same notes that are like relatively there. So it's like I like to stay generally within my chords when I'm doing that kind of stuff. So it's like this is like the F chord, so it goes F, A, C. So A would actually be G sharp in this case. Um, and then it was like the same thing with here because I'm using a lot of the B or A sharp in this case. Um, and I wanted to stay within those so that it could like just really sound like nice together and cohesive. And when you're doing a counter melody, like it's like nice to just kind of like stay within those typical parameters, and then playing off the places where you're not hitting the other notes. So it's like it's sounding like more full. So it's like sometimes a counter melody will be like, oh, I'm going to just play these chords as my main melody line, and then you're gonna just have these other like notes hit off of it. So like in one of my songs called Calendar, I have like a main synth sound, and then a bell at the end of it goes dun 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 dun, and it just like it's one of those things that's like it plays nicely off of the other thing. So there's like one thing it'll be one sound that's like its own thing, and then another sound that plays the end of it. So counter melodies are like just unique sounds to like make a melody sound more cohesive. That's basically the way I'll kind of describe it. Um, but yeah, and then leads, just I pretty sure I start arpeggiated like exactly where I was at. So it's just F to G, and then A to G. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Yeah, so that's that with those sounds. Now I'll go into the drums, and this is like really what makes the West Coast kind of beat. So I'll play all the drums together. Yeah, so what I like wanted to do, like the main thing with like West Coast beats, or at least Shoreline style West Coast beats, you want to like have the 808s hitting in this rhythm. Yeah. So it's F F G. So we'll go F F D. Okay, so then it goes so. I like to do that. So right here. You see that where it's like just the kicks right there, not necessarily kicks, but 808s in this case. Like with these, it just like builds up. Like when you hit it on the quarter note, like that, like the boom, boom. Like a lot of their beats do that. So like it'll like they be bouncy for the first half, and then it just goes boom, 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 like that, just to like have the hi hat or the open hats like play off of that as well, just to like make it like really emphasized at the end of the like 2, 4, or however long the phrase is. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So like with the open hats, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So that's how you kind of like can play it off. It's like with the open hats and like more open sounding like Percs. This is like a good way to like kind of like play with your 808s to really give it that bounce, that groove, really give it the West Coast vibe. It's like that, like the bum bum bum, but bum bum bum, like kind of like that typical rhythm, like I was talking about. So if it's we're looking at it from here, so it'd be like don't 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 like that. So it's like gonna hit with the I just used the cowbell here, but like basically that's the rhythm you want to kind of keep. If you wanted to give it that bounce, like a West Coast type bounce, that's the best way to kind of get that like with this rhythm pattern. And then I'm in 105 BPM, but like generally speaking, like with these West Coast beats, you can go from like 97 to like 120. It just depends how fast you want everything to kind of sound. Um, So it's like if you want it to be a slow rolling one, like if you switch it to 120 and then like half the time on it, then that would probably be good. But like for me, I like kept it uh within the, or to double the time, I just half the time. So it's like I go boom, boom, like that, basically. So like hitting on all the red or the offbeat, right? That's for my snares. That's what I'm looking at right here, or the claps. But and so with the claps, now that I'll break it down. So the claps, they're all hitting on that offbeat, that red that you saw up there. Um, and then then I put this little like extra clap in here to give it more bounce, and I lowered the velocity to like make it like feel like a build-up clap to that last clap in the section. So like when it's playing off of everything else that we got so far. See how it like kind of like plays off of it and makes it like extra bouncy? That's what we're going for. And then I just layered some kicks over the top. These ones, to be exact. Make it hit harder. So you can kind of feel how the elements are like all coming together now. So like here. Oh. Got the cowbell in there. And now here's something I did that was really pretty interesting for this beat. The hi-hats, I have two sections of them, right? So I've got first this one. It's like more of a bouncy hi-hat. So just kind of keeping that general bounce, and then I got the secondary one to put in the other side. And nothing special about that. But this, when they sound together. So it gives it more of a bounce, right? And the reason that is, it's like it's panned one way to the other. And when I go into the mixing tips, I'll kind of show that. So, but like for right now, this is like basically what it is. So I've got the like higher toned one panned to the right, and the lower toned one to the left. So when you do that, kind of creates a ping pong effect, So it's like you can kind of see it in the mix, like how it's like going back and forth right here in the master track on the like the panning of the left and the right. But keeping that all together now, we've got all of our drums kind of talked about. We talked about the Percs and all that. So like with the sound selection, with keep it like things West Coast, I would say like you really want to like have an E piano for sure, some cool leads, definitely some cowbell. You're gonna need more cowbell for sure. There's no doubt about that. But like not just like a standard cowbell, just like this electronic sounding one, like that one. Like the one that's kind of like in funk beats. You see some from time to time, but it's a great sound to have. You could probably find it like anything. I think it's just like an 808 cowbell. You'll probably find it like even in your like stock FL. It's a standard sound that like it's just so cool. But that gives it that West Coast vibe on top of all of that. Let's see. Yeah, so keeping everything here. That's pretty much all of the instrumentation I gotta go over with this thing before we start going into song structure and all that. But yeah, I'll play the beat one more time. Yeah, so that's a pretty bouncy track, right? And I guess the one thing you want to like keep in mind, like some secret sauce, like kind of stuff for you. If you're wanting to like keep these things intact, I would say that you really, really, really want to like make sure your sound selection's tight, dude. You're making sure you're getting that really nice stuff. Like the pianos are like classic for like West Coast beats, like that extra loud, high pitched synth. You want one of those. Definitely some cowbell, like I was saying before, and just trying to find that like bouncy kick. Sometimes like you want to go with the West Coast bass. I went with like an 808 for this one, just because, and Shoreline, that's usually what they do, and I was trying to stay true to that. Um, but yeah, that's what I got for you guys on the how to make the beat. Now, song structure wise, I'll say this. Because I'm in halftime, so basically like I'm only doing 4 beats, like you know, 4 beat things, and it moves faster because I'm in 105. So it's like it's either 105 or 210. So it's basically for the BPM, and I'm keeping it fast paced by hitting on the red instead of on the white. Because typically you would hit the white or the gray with like your claps like here instead of like here. But when you do the here and here, it makes it faster pace and it sounds like really sweet. Uh, but keeping that in mind though, so that's why we have 4 bar sections. It's like I doubled the pace to a certain degree, so it makes it move faster and like have a little bit more bounce. Um, so it's still an 8 bar to a 16 bar hook, and then I think we just did a 16 bar verse to a 16 bar hook and an 8 bar outro. So we kept it pretty simple. We didn't do a 24 bar verse like how we normally would, just because of how much time it was taking. And I really like to keep my beats under 3 minutes, especially if you're like releasing a type beat that you want like an artist to get on. And it's like, you can always extend it. You can always do more stuff to it beforehand, but keeping up your retention rate is important on YouTube. So that's why I do that. I'll say with the song structure, here, like, when you first go into the verse, you want to like drop out all the bass. At least that's what I like to do. Like I removed one of the hi-hats and then like really just kind of like kept it like groovy, bouncy, and all that. And then when I just bring more stuff in gradually, and then that builds into the 808. But one thing I've said and point out is that like I don't ever really bring back the leads until much later. I just put it in the hooks just because I wanted those to make the hooks stand out and let the verse really kind of like be chill and like let the artist have their way with it, man. But like let's get into the mixing of this. So I did a decent amount to like kind of cure these sounds. Some of them I didn't need to do as much, but it's a lot of EQing. So when you're EQing different stuff, especially like notes or like when you're dealing with similar notes or like similar like sounds. So it's like I've got 2 like E pianos, right? And I want them to like not be clashing. So I like roll out the like pieces that I want and I go until it can't, so like especially with this one. So I go until it can't. So until like until this end stops like affecting the noise. So it's like if you can still hear the noise cleanly, and if you just scrunch it together, so like you basically just put a low pass and a high pass on each end, and then try to bring them as close together without affecting the sound. That'll like kind of like keep it crisp to that one location in the frequency range. Um, it's the same story with each one of these. It's just like I was trying to like force it into certain pockets, so then I could like pan them to the right spot, so it would be like correct with all the phasing and all of that. Um, and then like obviously raising some higher frequencies for different or lower frequencies depending on the sound. Um, so specifically like why I would do that, like with this one, right? If I'm going here, so 6, right? It really gets that ring up, and it just like without it, right? Kind of bland. Like it doesn't stand out as much. And that picks it up like a lot more. So that's like why I did that for that. It just makes it stand out. For this one, I didn't really need to do anything because it's one of my sounds, and just felt like it was sounding a lot better. And then with one of these, I raised this particular one because I like the airiness of it, and that was just like a nice way for it to kind of like come out and be where it is. And for this, I needed the pluck to hit a little bit harder than it was, so I like raised it there. Going off of that with the clap, it's the same thing. Rolling off the bass, or the, let's see, this is the, yeah. With the clap, I just wanted to roll off the bass, pick up the mids, just so I can get it to like hit harder. Because with claps and like with snares, it's usually in this mid to low mid range. That's where you're gonna find like your particular sounds that you like. Like so, like here, that's how you make it more bassy, right? And it's just like with a clap, it's like sometimes it's nice to have like a bassier clap, especially with this one. I didn't need to do the thickening clap technique for this one. That's another technique that I talked about in another video. You guys should check that out. But with the kick, had to like raised up the area that I needed for it to hit, and then so it wouldn't clip fully, I would just put on the soft clipper at a low threshold at a higher post, so it would knock still, but not actually clip. Just make it sound hard hitting, right? And this one was mixed, the cymbal was mixed, the open hat was mixed, the hi-hats were mixed, cowbell was mixed, and now the 808, right? Here's what I did. I rolled off the higher frequency, raised the bass, like in a particular area that sounded best to me, and then added this fruity fast distortion. I think it started with, it's probably like the warmth, or no, not the warmth, the heat, yeah. And then rolled it back just a little bit. Just rolled back the threshold, like the, I'll go back to the heat. So the heat, it's like this. So I just rolled back the pre. You see that? So I like made it on the made it on A for the distortion type. Turn up the mix, turn up the post, and then reduce the threshold by a lot, and pre by a lot. So it just made it sound like more of a crisp sound. Not overly distortion, but like way harder hitting than it was before without it. So that's how I kind of like did that. But yeah, guys, that's what I got for you today. Not an over the top complicated beat, but it is something. There is a lot of elements to it, and there's a lot of like techniques to keep in mind. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys, and leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for another. Peace. Oh, and God bless you guys. Peace.